storm show. Ay, it's a storm show.
Today, like, my purpose of bringing you here today is just to have an honest conversation about like what you think Black femininity is, the state of it today, really Black relationships in general. So
dang, where do we start? But before we start, Storm, I have to ask, what made you want to elicit me for this topic of conversation?
well, I always see you watch a certain person on YouTube, by the name of Kevin Samuels, and you are big on feminine energy and just the way you carry yourself. And we've been out to dinner or lunch a couple times too, and just your attitude makes me want to be gentleman-like. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's some girls, I ain't open up your own fucking door. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm just not. I ain't even gonna think to do it. But then there's certain women, you be like, oh no, I'm gonna wait outside the car for her. Like, it's just what you command. I think the right word is command. And it's like, you ain't even have to say nothing. It's just how you carry yourself. And I'm like, oh, like, let me talk like I got some sense. Let me get my elbows off the table. Like, let me carry my, because I'm a fool on the internet. So it's, I felt like you were a great person. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited about this topic of conversation. So I think I'm gonna drop some gems tonight. So
okay, because I'm gonna ask you some real questions too. So I know you're gonna keep it real.
Okay.
All right. So first things first is go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, let them know a little bit about what you do.
Yes. So hey everybody, my name is NYCOLE Hutchens. A little bit about of myself. Some people kind of joke and call me a jack of all trades, but my background came in media and public relations. I started off as a entertainment reporter, worked for many different outlets, and then I transitioned that into being a beauty writer and beauty reporter, where I basically interviewed, skincare professionals in the industry, celebrities, and getting skincare tips. And then that kind of parlayed into me doing reviews for different skincare companies. And now today I'm the face and partner of a skincare line called Skin Essentials. Been doing that for about a couple of years now. It's my baby. And as we discussed earlier, Storm, I am on my way to being a licensed esthetician. So it's all coming together, y'all.
So she is, I just say bottom line, she's an entrepreneur. Like you no matter what, you know how to get that money. And we live in a whole new economy, a whole new time where we don't have to be like, oh, you can only be one thing. Like, no, I can transition. And you know what? I did that and that's cool, but now I'm gonna do this. So,
exactly.
when she's a consultant for Fenty one day, I might ask her for a loan. So anyway, so let me get right to it, Nicole. Do you feel that in 2021, the majority of Black women are too masculine?
I do feel like in 2021 that a lot, not all obviously, but a lot of Black women are masculine. And I can speak on that because I used to be one of those masculine women. Okay. Maybe not as masculine as what we would like to call, the term is masculinas. So masculinas, I'll kind of give you a brief definition of it, is basically modern day women who take on masculine energy. Basically women who compete with men, who want to be equal to men, and feel like they can do any and everything without a man. So basically their whole femininity is gone out the door. So when I say I used to be one of those women, maybe not to the extent as a masculina, but to the extent of, I don't need a man for this. I don't need a man for that. I can do this, that. And there was one point in time where I thought I didn't want marriage. There was one point in time where I thought I didn't want children. And then once I hit the age, honestly, of 28 and still realized I wasn't, married and different things like that, I'm like, ooh, something ain't right.
So something changed when you hit 28.
Yes.
Oh, and it's funny you said that because I'm 28.
Okay.
And I'm thinking a little differently about things too. So is there something with the age 28? Because even I'm kind of like, well,
yeah,
maybe I can't do the family thing. Maybe it's possible,
right. No, I think for women, especially because we have a biological clock, which I didn't think was real. It is real. I'm in my 30s now. I'm 33. So it's like, okay, imagine feeling like that at 28. So imagine how I feel now. But now that I realize what the reason behind it, I don't feel as bad about it. You know, it's kind of one of those things I don't really have control over, except for the fact of like who I choose to decide to, you know, do something like that with, in terms of planning for a family, having children, different things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, overall, like in 2021, for sure, I think a lot of Black women are masculine.
Are masculine. Okay. Now let me flip that now. Because I also like to say there is a shortage of masculine Black men. And so it's kind of like a lot of y'all are left in a position of, I'm either going to sit here and cry that I got to do this on my own, or I'm going to just step up and do what I got to do. And then you step so much into that role that you really can't figure out how to come out of it when you know, don't need that for survival. So I think there's a lack of Black masculinity as well, Black male masculinity.
Okay. And you know what? I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. The only reason why is because through my experience in dating, I have dated mostly masculine alpha men. So in my personal experience, I have not met men who would be deemed not masculine,
Gotcha.
so to speak. So I may have heard that with some of my girlfriends who may be experiencing that, and I would agree that it's out there, but just in my personal anecdotal experience, that hasn't been the case.
And I get that. Well, you're a lucky woman there. Because let me tell you, and I keep it real with ladies, like if your dude didn't have no daddy, that's usually the reason why. Like I'm just saying, either he ain't had no daddy, or he had an overbearing mother or a narcissistic mother. And then she just sons the shit out of him, and he will always, like, even if he physically looks like the leader of the pack, like you get to know him and you like, oh, you can't even pick up your drawers off the floor. Like you don't know how to do nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
you know, and I got cousins and stuff and aunties, and I be hearing about, like, I got this one auntie and she literally taught this dude like about your credit and like paying your bills, and like, don't get me wrong, he's a physically strong man, but I'm like, he can't do anything on his own. So to me, I can't call him an alpha male, but maybe I got it messed up. So what do you consider an alpha male?
Oh, that's a good question. What do I consider an alpha male? An alpha male to me is a man who knows what he wants first and foremost, like without a shadow of a doubt. He knows what he wants. No outside sources can really like influence the decisions that he makes unless it's for the betterment of himself and the people around him.
Okay.
With that being said, I feel like another trait is a man who takes pride in taking care of the people that he loves in his life. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be monetarily speaking, but just, you know, whether it's, I don't know, emotional support or just kind of being there. Maybe he's the one that fixes things when they break down. I don't know, but just something where he's helping out those that he loves. And I would say another trait, let's see. He just has like this aura about him that when he walks into a room, it just
Everybody, yes.
yeah, like
Yeah.
he just like he doesn't go unnoticed. Like
Yeah.
people almost do a double take, like, oh, okay, like.
And the main thing about when you know somebody is truly alpha, they don't have to tell you and they don't have to try. Like, you know, and I love my Black people, I do, but we can run the hell out of a word, right? So everyone wants to call themselves that, and I'm like, if you're truly that, other people recognize you as that.
Right.
Like if there's an emergency, they gonna look to you. Like, what is Bob gonna do? You know what I mean? Like it's not you having to say it. Now I will say this too. One thing that I think is a clear indicator is a man that can articulate his thoughts.
Yes, I would agree with that.
The first time though, I've listened to so many Black men speak, especially like the 60s babies, the 70s babies. You know, the ones that like they got their ass beat all the time. It wasn't really no talking in the house, it was just getting your ass beat. And if you notice, like when they're trying to explain themselves, they can't. Or like when Black people have conversations, there's so much lost in translation because it's, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about anymore. So to me, if I hear a man that can clearly articulate his thoughts, that's a clear indicator. Embrace Pangea is an all-natural brand that is here to meet your holistic needs. They sell products for your yoni, like the Yoni Detox Pearls, which will help to purify that vessel that helps to bring forth life into this world. Or how about the Coconut Crush Deodorant, which is feminine enough for a woman, but strong enough to keep your man dry. Not to mention, you won't have those nasty white marks on that beloved, sexy black denim dress. And last but not least, people, Embrace Pangea also has your oral health covered. I personally love the Herbal Rinse mouthwash, and let's not even forget the Herbal Tooth Powder, which at this point has helped to keep me cavity free for about 1.5 years. Go to embracepangea.com to place your order today.
Yeah, I would agree.
Tell me, from your perspective, what is attractive about that alpha man? What makes him attractive?
Oh, you really come with the questions tonight.
I'm coming with the questions tonight.
I almost feel like I'm on like a speed date. You know what I'm saying? But oh man, what makes him attractive? Gosh. Okay, so aside from looks, obviously,
I want you to describe that too. Second after.
Yeah, we'll get to that. A man with ambition, like. And it can be in anything, just when he's really passionate about something. Like, even if he works in corporate America, he's just passionate about his job and his position and like working his way up. Like, I personally find that to be an attractive trait. So ambition for sure. A man who takes pride in, I might have said this already, but to me, it's just such an attractive trait. It's just this, not ashamed to protect and to provide, for the people in his circle, particularly his woman. So for me, those are like the top two most attractive traits in a man. And a man who has his own mind. Like, he doesn't let this person's ask, like, oh, since we're going to get on relationships, why are you with her? Why? He wants to be with her. She does something for him that makes him want to say, yeah, I like her. That's mine right there. Because you'll see people on the outside in trying to figure out, oh, why is he with her? How does she get him? And different things like that. And it's just like, she obviously does something so yeah, not being like swayed and having his own mind. That's so attractive.
Being strong. And I think I know, like, one thing my life coach / therapist told me, he said, who's really going to be best for you is a woman that treats you well. Like, you don't need a wife that everybody want to fuck. Like, because that's really a lot of times what it is. Like, we see the Hollywood dudes, they come in with the woman who had their back, Kevin Hart, and then they trade them in for something that fits a certain mold. And it don't, it can last.
Still got cheated on.
And they still get cheated on because you may be prettier, but you ain't no better. You see what I'm saying? I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna be petty. But some of y'all, with y'all, I'm gonna let it alone. All right. Anyway, I apologize. I'm getting better. Therapy is helping me.
Okay.
I stopped myself before I said that shit. Okay. But I just said that to say, like, even with me, I would rather know that this person got my back versus, everybody thinks she's fine. Like, I'm not trying to impress you. As long as I like her, that's all that matters. So
that's true. But I also heard, and you can tell me if this is true or not, Storm, that a man is generally judged by the woman he dates or marries in his circle.
Yes, that is true. But her character is going to matter way more than her looks.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I would agree.
Her character is going, because you could have, like, who's considered like the finest woman out there right now? I don't want to say Beyonce because everybody says Beyonce.
Yeah, no.
I'll say Megan Good. She's not the finest, but she's very pretty. So I say Megan.
I was gonna say Megan Fox, or Kim Kardashian or something.
Let's use Megan Fox. That's a better one, right? One of the quote unquote the prettiest. But she fucked up her face. But anyway, But she didn't want her husband and her 3 kids. She wants to be with a failed white rapper and do drugs in Mexico and get slutted out in bathrooms and paint your tongue black and upside down crosses on you. And this is like, you left your husband and 3 kids, 3 sons, to go be a hoe.
Wow. I didn't know that about her. I mean, I knew she left the whole quote unquote family life.
Well, yeah. But that's what it was. And don't get me wrong, she was with another actor named Brian Austin Green. They had 2 sons. They went back and forth a lot, broke up and got back together. She got pregnant with the 3rd baby. They got back together. But ultimately, she wanted that a Chad or a Tyrone, as the red pill community would say. I feel like lust got the best of her. Like,
Okay.
with her husband, I think there was love there in duty, but I think she's letting her lust control her. And I think when she hits a certain age, if this dude, Machine Gun Kelly, if he doesn't wife her, I think she's screwed. Like, you can't go back to your husband. Your sons are gonna resent you once they get old enough to understand really what happened. Because don't no son want his mama to be a hoe.
That's true. That is true. You know what? She's so, and I'm really surprised. Well, I'm not going to say I'm surprised because obviously she had work done, but she looks really good for her age. I got to say, her body, everything, she looks good for her age. So, in my personal opinion, this is kind of how I feel about Kim Kardashian, because now she's about to be a soon divorcee. She's got 4 children and she's 41 years old. But her looks are what's going to keep her in the game. Like, she's going to be like a sought after MILF. So some of my male friends are like, oh, she's done. She's hit the wall, this and this and that. But I'm like, it's Kim Kardashian though.
She's built herself up enough to where she will be able to get somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
But more than likely it won't be a man around her age though.
Nope.
It will have to be someone young.
It will. Someone where she can more kind of control them. And if you notice, she's been doing something to her butt. Her butt is looking flatter. Like, she's going back. Chloe's doing that shit too. Like, now they kind of like, so I'm like, yeah, she's trying to get back one of her own kind again, but I don't
never know.
Never know. But I think even she probably regrets the sex tape and all the men
You think so? She's
well,
too vain. She's too narcissistic, in my opinion, to be regretting all that stuff. I don't think she regrets it. I don't.
I think on one hand she does. It's kind of like and I always wonder, like, when they talk about selling your soul to the devil, what does that actually mean? Because on one hand, she's a billionaire, right? Probably wouldn't have been if she wouldn't have done everything that she did. And now she's saying, I just want a regular guy, but you don't live a regular life. Like, it's too late.
Right.
Regular guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to kind of go back on the whole masculina type thing, because I know I don't want this to seem like we're attacking Black women, because there's there's non-Black masculinas as well. And the perfect example of that would be Paris Hilton. Ooh. And I'm not sure if you watched her documentary from, I think it was either late last year or early this year. And I promise you, Storm, I would never. People say, oh, they would love to trade their lives for Paris Hilton. I would never trade my life for hers in a million years. She talked about how depressed she was and how unhappy she is. She also talked about how she seems to always attract weak men. Like, it seems like she's always the one leading. She's always the one like carrying the relationship and the finances, and she's taking care of these men, and it never works out. You know what I mean? And I think she's like 42, no family of her own yet, no kids, and she wants that very bad. So now I think she's going through IVF. Now she's got this new fiance. They have like a whole reality show that they're doing. So she was, to me, one of those, a perfect example of what not to do if you want a different outcome.
I agree.
She's so focused on, oh, I want to be the next millionaire. Oh, I want to be the next billionaire. Now her focus is, I want to be the next trillionaire. Okay, so now what after that? Once you hit that, what now? Because according to the documentary, I think she's already a billionaire. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure.
she's already a billionaire.
Yeah, she's already a billionaire.
a lot
Now
of
you
money.
get that, and
Yeah.
you still are complaining about what you don't have.
Because it's not gonna make you happy.
No.
It's not gonna and I did see some of that documentary because even like they show her life of going from this country to that country, this event to that event, getting paid $500,000 for one appearance, but she's in a hotel room by herself, lonely as hell, taking sleeping pills to go to sleep and stuff to get her through the day.
And she has nightmares. She says she constantly has nightmares.
So it's like, yeah, you're wealthy, but I, like you just said, I don't want your life.
Not at all.
I don't want that at all. I even thought about that like this year. I took like 10 vacations this year. I'm not bragging, but for like 6 months off, I was traveling. People was like, Storm, where you at? Everywhere.
For real.
Everywhere. But I was hanging out with friends and went on a few group trips and this, that, and the third. But there's that moment, like when you go on the group trips, right? And y'all do your activities, guys do this, girls do that. But there's that moment at the end of the night where everyone goes off to their room, the couples. And if you by yourself, I mean, you don't always want to pay a prostitute, right? You don't always want to do that. So I'm just keeping it real. You don't always want to do that, right? So it's like, oh, I got to get my life together. Like this year really made me realize that because like last year I just focused on like making money. I spent a lot of it this year, but my point is it really ain't fun spending it by yourself. Are you ready to take your health into your own hands? Aren't you tired of spending hundreds and thousands on vitamins and supplements every month only to be literally and figuratively pissing your money away? Well, then guess what? I have a solution for you, and that solution is called Nutrition. Nutrition is a vitamin and supplement brand that customizes your mineral and vitamin needs to the T by using your DNA. Simply complete the oral swab sent to your home, send it back to the lab expeditiously, and before you know it, boom, at your door arrives your own customized formula of vitamins. And it's all based on DNA because whether you know it or not, that is where the magic is. And no, your information will never be made public. This is completely private for you and you only. Now, if you're ready to take charge of your health today, make sure you go to euphoriascience.com/stormmonroe to order your DNA kit. And if you want to make some money on the side, you can do that too with Nutrition. Like, I would gladly be like, you want that bag? All right, here you go. Like, yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact. It's really
a fact. And speaking of like getting the bag, like I think some of us, not all of us, finally reaching that age and we got to experience certain I'll just say blessings, certain financial blessings, and you think, well, I'm supposed to be like extremely happy, right? Like I'm supposed to be happy. I'm getting the bag, like everybody says. But then you look up and you're like, whoa, but I still don't have something that's more meaningful, which is the relationship. And I thought I was going to use myself as an example, but I guess I will, because this is kind of like the first time I'm speaking about it. But like last year, and this is around the time you had met me for the first time at Tasha's, I was going through a breakup. And I remember there were certain things like, even last year when I went on my vacation to the DR and everything like that, everything was going like really well. My sales were going well, different things like that. And I was just like, but what really affected me the most was losing a man who I thought I was going to get married to.
Yeah.
That's what made me most happy. And I'm just like, what is this? You know what I mean? And that's another thing too with social media. And another reason why like I have to like sometimes unplug myself from it to keep my peace of mind. It's just like, if you notice, Storm, the constant narrative on social media is the boss babe, the boss chick, boss dude, boss this, boss that. And the reality is, first of all, entrepreneurship is not as easy and glamorous as people make it seem.
It's not.
Like, I need people to understand that.
And it is work. It is work.
It's work. And like until you have enough money to outsource your work, you are responsible for everything. You're the marketing director, you're the customer service agent, you got to keep up with all the expenses, receipts, all that stuff, taxes, like everything is by yourself. So, and honestly, everybody's not equipped to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not equipped to be a business owner. So it really frustrates me when there's this message and this narrative, especially towards Black women. You ain't getting it unless you get in the bag, sis. Get that bag so you won't need a man, sis.
Right.
I personally stopped unfollowing like CEO pages and conferences, like CEO conferences and stuff like that. Because me personally, the energy is just too masculine for me. For number one, majority of those women are not married. They don't have kids. You know what I mean? They're already like approaching 40 plus, and all they're able to say is, you know what, but I make 6+ figures a year. That's because you have to overcompensate to what you think you're probably not gonna get, sis, which is the husband that you want, which is that family that you want, because you're replacing that with the bag. And that's fine. If that's good enough for you, great. But don't complain about not having your quote unquote equal partner.
You know what? I think, and I guess it's because I've went through all this therapy. And no, seriously, because I got issues, right? So I be telling people openly, I got issues. And they know I talk about like, my upbringing and stuff. So which my upbringing on one hand was great, but also I was taught to never need a woman for anything. And it's kind of like, but I kind of do what did y'all expect me to do or be with. Like it's kind of like I don't know what y'all was pushing me towards, but anyway. I think a lot of those women, I think a lot of people, period, are just responding to traumas in unhealthy ways. So they might have had a dude to abandon them. They might have became a mother at a young age. They might have, being homeless is a trauma. Being broke is a trauma. And some people just, they just overreact and like, I just got to make money and make money and make money. And even when they get to the point to where it's like, okay, like you're good. You're never going to be broke again. In their head, like I still got to make more money. And so there's no balance. Like, yes, money is needed, but you need a partner too. Somebody.
Absolutely.
Because guess what? Guess what they always have on their arm? Not a Louis bag, but guess what? Or those ugly ass Birkins. But guess what they always have on their arms?
What's that?
A gay dude. Think about it. They always have a gay dude that goes with them everywhere, kisses their ass, do their hair, do their makeup, watch their kids. Always.
I didn't notice that.
And they'll rotate them. They'll rotate them every 6 or 7 years to see a new gay dude around them. But that's literally, so you still need that male energy. You just got one around that you can control because he needs you, and he's an outcast and you're an outcast essentially.
Wow, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's true. A lot of, especially like these top tier boss chicks, they are surrounded by a lot of gay men.
And that's I know irregardless is not a word, but that's regardless of race. Like you see with the white chicks too, the gay dude with the spiky blonde hair who do they highlights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gonna need a penis around somewhere. You're gonna need a vagina around somewhere. We both need each other. I feel like we live in times where people are ashamed to say, I need you.
Yes, absolutely. And especially, and I'm not trying to like make it seem like men don't have these thoughts, but just speaking from a woman's perspective, that's consistently being pushed on Black women. You don't need anybody. You don't need especially a man. And I'm thinking to myself, at 5'3", 120 something pounds, like I can't do everything by myself. I can't lift everything by myself. Like I really can't. You know what I mean? So I need a man, obviously more than just like lifting stuff, but just that male presence, just to feel. And to add on to that, like when we're living by ourselves as women, that's actually dangerous. People don't realize that. It's dangerous. And unless you got money to pay for a personal 24-hour security guard, women, in my personal opinion, don't need to be living by themselves.
If you can help it, it leaves you susceptible to a lot of things. You're essentially a target, because I don't care if you have a house or if you have an apartment. People pay attention and they notice. Oh, I don't never see no man there. Oh, okay. They notice, especially if you're a woman who, you live far away from family. But see, I have to go back to then we as Black people, a lot of us come from broken families. So we're Black Americans are so individualistic. I think that's the right word for it. Because like you meet Caribbean people, they stick together. You meet them Nigerians, they go out in groups.
Yeah.
There's always someone. And Black people, we have a community, but no sense of family.
Do you want to learn more about the Illuminati? Have you always been interested in figuring out why your favorite or maybe even your non-favorite celebrity is always throwing up certain symbols like that, or even that, or that, or this? Have you been trying to figure out why? Well, then guess what? My Patreon is the place for you. So simply go to patreon.com/stormmonroe or go to my YouTube channel. Type in Storm Monroe, and on the very first homepage, hit that little join button, and you will be a member. And once you are a member of the channel, you get the same benefits that the Patreon does, and you will get access to my conspiracy comment. Patreon.com/stormmonroe or youtube.com/stormmonroe, and hit join, and you will be on your way to your conspiracy field.
No, not at all. We got to prove to everybody, oh, I can do it by myself. I don't need you. Look at me. Look at me. And it's like, that's great. And another thing too, I want to point out, I just thought about this today. Like, it's so funny. As Black women, we'll brag that we have our own car. May even be a nice car.
Right.
We have our own house. May even be a nice house. And it's almost like they say in a way, like you're supposed to get rewarded for being an adult. I don't look at that as, I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of your accomplishments, because maybe you grew up poor and you found your way out of it and you got yourself a house, you're a homeowner, bravo.
Right.
But I also feel like acquiring certain things like shelter, transportation, putting food on the table, to me, that's just knowing how to be self-sufficient.
Yes, it's being an adult.
It's just being an adult. Like, I remember some of my college buddies who were pregnant in college, and something so basic, they would go on Facebook and be like, yeah, I got my own apartment, I got my own car, and I'm like, ma'am, you're a mother, you should be able to do those things for your children.
And I do feel, and I'm gonna stand on this, that as a race, if we want to improve, we have to go back to being married. We have to go, like, and I'm not putting it all on women. I'm not, but we have to start teaching our kids, because y'all ain't gonna stop popping them out. Start teaching them, like, no, you want to marry him? Nah, well then don't have his baby.
There we go.
That's simple.
Let's talk about it.
Because and I'll use my cousin as an example, who's was in the military, but she was in the military. She was like 19 or 20. Her and another military dude, Haitian dude, they eloped. They probably was tired of like sleeping at the thing and wanted a house or whatever, right? So she went on, she got married, announced it, didn't tell nobody. Okay, cool. But I noticed everybody was so upset that she was married. This is so bad. This is the end of the world. Oh my God, why would she do that? And I said, is she pregnant? Well, no. She said she ain't trying to have no kids right now. She can always get a divorce. Like, if it don't work, she can always get a divorce. Right. And it did get a divorce like a year later. But my point is, she would have got more of a congratulation if she had got pregnant.
See, and that's sad, and that is ridiculous. And this goes back to a post that I saw on Kevin Samuel's page. He posted a photo of a pregnant woman, and there was 2 questions he asked. Congratulations, I didn't know you got married, or B, congratulations, when is the wedding? See, because back in, like, I think our grandparents' parents' days, that kind of was the notion. If you're pregnant, that means you get married. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And
if
so,
you're not, you're finna walk down the aisle real soon.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was just discussing this with a friend, like, where do we get to a point where we treat marriage first as a priority before just popping out a bunch of kids from either random people or just from the same dude who's not committing to you? Like it's just the statistics.
We don't have shame anymore. See,
yeah, it's like there's no shame. It's like baby showers are more praised than a woman getting married, and it's really really unfortunate. Or people will look at you crazy if it's just like, oh, you haven't had a child yet? Well, no, I want to wait till marriage. Like, what you mean you want to wait till marriage? Like,
nope.
It is what it is. Me personally, I am going to wait till marriage. Well, you never know when that's going to be. Well, then I guess I won't be having kids then, huh? Because I think there's something extremely irresponsible to be bringing a child into this world without having some type of, maybe you're not married, just some type of domestic partnership or something, having a male figure in the household. Did they not read the statistics that kids born outside of wedlock are more likely to be impoverished? I don't know if I'm saying that word right. To be living in poverty.
Living in poverty, absolutely.
Like, does that not scare y'all? Like,
and they're more at risk for anxiety, depression, behavioral issues,
exactly.
Alternative lifestyles as adults, all that.
There's that too.
Those are just stats. That's and honestly, they're more at risk of like abuse when the mom meets new men. Sexual, like it gets real.
Right. And we're not attacking single mothers, because when my parents divorced, me and my brother ended up being raised by my mom by herself. And I'm glad I got to see both ends of the spectrum, right? Like, I got to see my mom married to my biological father for 10 years. And it was a fairly traditional relationship. My dad was the head of the household. He was the one that worked, and my mom is the one that stayed home with us. Unfortunately, that the marriage didn't work out. It is what it is. But when I saw my mom do it all by herself, she did a great job. I'm not saying she didn't do well, but I saw the struggle. And I don't know if you know, Storm, my mom recently beat cancer.
I know.
So she had like this huge mass that was building up over years. And I asked my mom, I'm like, where do you think that came from? And she was like, baby, to be honest with you, I believe that came from stress.
Yeah. Stressing all the time, not knowing how you're going to do this and do that, and not even being able to deal with her traumas from the divorce, just having to say, okay, I got kids to raise. I just got to keep pushing. Yeah. Disease. Yeah. I would say even like for me, like I told both my parents to their face they were stupid for having me, because I don't care. I'll say it to your face. This might be why people don't talk to me, Nicole, because I just say crazy shit. But hey, look, my parents are crazier. So because I felt like, okay, even though y'all was playing house and that was cute, but like you got to give yourself time to even know if you're gonna even want to stay with this person. That was my whole thing. Like, you didn't require my dad to marry you. You just live together. And that was okay for several years. And then the shit didn't work out. And then he go marry somebody else right away. It's like what the hell? So, and then that didn't work out. But my point is, like, a man gonna do what you allow him to do. Like, if women start, like, literally, if women start saying, you can't sleep with me unless you got a college degree.
Look, something, right? What's your credit score?
Dudes will go to DeVry. They will be enrolling at University of Phoenix, all that. I promise y'all. I think a lot of women feel like if I have standards, I'm not gonna have a man. No, if you don't have standards, you gonna have some, but he ain't gonna be a man. Like, it's
right. You're gonna end up with an F boy. Like, would you rather get pregnant by the F boy who's not gonna show up for you, or the man who's got something that has character integrity? And if for some reason he doesn't marry you, he's gonna be a solid father you can co-parent with. He's gonna be able to take care of you and the child or whatever, like something. Because I understand, like, people say, well, I've heard, some women say, well, he told me he was going to do this and I thought we were going to get married and blah, 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 blah.
What did he show you?
Right. Exactly. Look at the actions.
Because I would tell you anything to sleep with you.
Right. Exactly.
Like, exactly. I don't even think women realize when a man did get hard, we would tell you anything. Yeah, I'm going to pull out. No, I'm not. I'm not. So I'm like, don't forget what he say, man. What is he doing? Because when a dude want to marry you, it ain't no second thought.
Right.
That's
Right.
why you be hearing about men proposing in 3 months, 60
Right.
days. Because when
6
you know
months or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. If a man wants you, you can't keep him off of you.
Right.
He damn near obsessed with you. Like you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So I want to transition to this. I think that social media is a blessing and a curse. And I feel that due to social media, I think that like body dysmorphia is on the rise. I think that people just have a warped sense of like what's real on the man's side and the woman's side, right? So I think that a lot of women are passing up good dudes because he doesn't look like the fitness guy on IG. You know, he's not super ripped. He's not 6 feet, he 5'10". And I've literally heard girls say he gotta be like, if you don't let them 2 inches go and they just 5'10" man, go about your fucking business. Like, and I'll tell you, you're a dummy. Like I tell you, Storm would tell you, you're a dummy. You better take that and go. But I'm just saying, or now, you know, because of pornography, we're so perverted that I hear so many women say, oh, you got to be 10 inches plus. And I say, ma'am, first off, y'all can barely take 7. But second off, statistically, this is like the 0.01% of, you know, and I had to have that conversation with my friend because she was like, you know, I've never dated a dude under 10 inches. And I said, where are all these men from? Oh, they from home, Uganda, one's from Nigeria. I said, come on, like that. Then her thing is, I don't want no hairy dude. Dudes are hairy. Do you not want a man? What do you want? He can manscape. I said, shut up. Shut up. You better let that man be hairy, go about your business. Like, I think like women get caught up on so many things that are so not important. So what do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm laughing because I have been guilty of this, and maybe I'm still guilty of it. Yes, social media has warped our realities and has created unrealistic expectations. I would agree with that. However, being someone who has personally been able to attract what I want,
you know it's possible, but see,
yes.
you had it. No, but see, I can't include you in that because if you had it, that's your normal.
Right. Okay. So we're talking about to the women who it's not normal to really get those things on a regular basis.
I would still encourage you to maybe try somebody that's a little different just to see if you see anything, or maybe pull back a little bit. You know, like if he got a 4-pack and not an 8-pack, just kind of pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
But if a woman has never been able to attract something, but she sees social media, or a man has never been able to get this type of woman, but this is what he see on social media, not knowing she Facetune, she 2 hours of makeup, like they,
So
they're the regular person. They're the regular looking person. Most people are regular looking. Like that's one thing I do like about Kevin Samuels. He like most people don't look like a supermodel. It's just not.
Yeah. Oh, you mean when people call into a show, they don't look like a super? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm saying how like when a lot of the women call in, they don't have a correct perception of like how they look. But I'm telling you, a lot of men do that too, and will be sitting up single, not getting none, because homegirl got a little pudge, but homie, you got man titties. Like, you better fuck that fat ass girl and go about your business.
Right. You know, again, like you were saying earlier, there's nothing wrong with having standards, but we would need to make sure that we're aligning or complementing those standards. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, yeah, I normally go for the over 6 foot tall dude, but maybe I can go for the 5'10". It's okay. He got everything else together. He's has character, integrity. He's ambitious, got a good job. You know, he values the same things that I do. Okay, I can possibly be open to that. But I'm not gonna lie. if there's women watching this who are like me, who are used, see, here's the thing, Storm. When you get so used to something, it's kind of hard to pull back. It's kind of hard to try something different.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I know what physically stimulates me, and what physically stimulates me is, generally speaking, a tall dude.
And describe him further. What else would he look like? So we got tall. I think tall, dark, rich, and muscular. I think that's pretty much what Nicole like.
I mean, generally speaking, yes, that's what Nicole really likes. But
that sounds like an NFL player. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you know what? Athletes.
I know they can't be trash. So
yeah, and they're not smart. Athletes aren't that smart.
They aren't. And then you're dealing with CTE. You may wake up and he throwing you up against the wall across the TV. Like, oh God.
Oh gosh, I got PTSD from that. But yeah, I'll just say, generally speaking, what my type generally is, is 6 foot, dark skin, ambitious,
About it. About it. No, I know. Hey, look, and but you've had it, so I understand. So I think I want to say too, how do you feel about women that say, you know what? I've always dated black dudes, and Chad from accounting, not Chad, it'd be like Tyler. Tyler from accounting asked me out, but Tyler's white. How do you feel about that?
I mean, if she wants to go out on a date with Tyler, she should go out on a date with Tyler. If she finds him physically appealing and attractive, I see why not. And then kind of figure out what his intentions are. And if his intentions are for something serious and she's open to that, then I say go for it. But if she is not, she shouldn't go out on a second date with him just for the sake of having company. Because there's a lot of women that are doing that. They're just dating a bunch of different men that they know they don't want to be with, but just to keep that company until they meet the one that they want to meet.
I agree. Yeah, I forgot what they call that. It's a term for that now. They just going to eat, literally, just going to eat.
Oh yeah, that's mentioned out on the manosphere, how women are literally just dating men to get free meals. That is crazy.
But you can tell though, because when you at dinner with a woman, if she ain't paying you no attention, like, bro, she don't like you. You know when a girl like you and when a girl don't. Like,
that's the biggest giveaway. If a woman is on her phone majority of the time during the date and is not engaged, she's not feeling you, sir.
She's not feeling you. How quick does she respond? Does she text you back? Like, you can look at little things like, does she say okay or okay? If she call you bro, you definitely just a bro. Like, don't.
Yes, definitely. And another thing I want to touch on, because we were talking about Instagram and then relationships, because I know there's a relationship aspect to this discussion. I did a video that was called "Sorry, Sir, You're Just Her Prop." And so me and some of my girlfriends were just talking about, because another thing on social media is relationship goals, Black love goals, different things like that. Women will be so quick to jump to take pictures with a guy they've only known for 6 weeks and say, oh, this my boo, this my baby, this my forever. And about 6 months later, they're not together.
Right.
Or a year later, they're not together. And what people are doing, they're treating their relationships or so-called relationships as content creation and not an actual relationship. You understand what I'm saying? And especially with this, what I like to call, we're living in the Kevin Samuels era, since there's this constant message being pushed that Black women can't get men. By the time they do get a man, especially single mothers, it's like they're so quick to push their relationship on social media to be like, look, see, I got a man. See, there's a man that will accept a woman with kids and take on another man's children, different things like that. And it's just like, sis, like, we're happy that you found someone, but really be careful with that, because once the cameras are turned off, y'all not taking pictures, now you got real life to deal with. Now you two have to actually connect. And when you spend too much time trying to take photos and you're not connecting, it's a higher chance that it won't work out. You know what I mean?
If you ain't got a ring, don't post them.
Wait, say it again.
If you don't have a ring, don't post them.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Like nowadays, it's just like, it's kind of like how Issa Rae just popped up married. It's kind of like how that actress on Orange Meets the New Black, she didn't announce her man until they were married. Matter of fact, I think she posted pictures of them after their 1-year anniversary. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't want to get too deep on y'all, but I'm a spiritual person. And so when you post things, anything we post is public and for the world to see, but we're inviting energies into our page. And unfortunately, there's crazy lunatics and jealous lunatics out there. You don't know what type of hoodoo, voodoo, or anything that they're doing to try to mess up what you got going on. And I know it might sound crazy to most people, but I'm telling y'all need to be careful about that stuff. That stuff is real.
That stuff is real. It's stuff people can do to just break your life apart bit by bit. And that's why they say don't need, like you just said, don't even announce nothing. Don't even announce your next move until you doing it.
I'm notorious for that. I don't announce my stuff until I'm doing it.
And I love how people would tell me, "Oh, you're so secretive. Oh, you're so mysterious." No, I just don't tell you my business until you need to know.
Facts.
Like
it's not hiding anything. It's just let me keep some things private. Can I do that without seeming like, oh, she's just trying to be secretive? She's just trying to act like she's so perfect and different things like that. Well, maybe if I'm not perfect by any means of the measure, but maybe if more women would try that, they might get better results. And that's another way of knowing how to shut up. You know what I'm saying? You'll hear people complain and men complain all the time. Some women just don't know how to be quiet. Modern day women, what do? We're following every trend. We're following every TikTok trend. We're doing thirst traps. We got to announce every move that we're making. Why? This is just my theory, especially women who are 25 plus. They're not being courted by someone that they really want to be courted by. I'm talking to the women who actually want a relationship and eventually want to have a family and be married. If that's not you, you don't want that, I'm not speaking to you. But for the women who do want it, and biology has told us that majority of women want families and husbands, regardless of how successful you are in your business. So that's why you see 35 plus year olds just doing stuff that 20-something-year-olds are doing.
Yeah.
I'm not being desired or courted by the man I want to be at. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on social media and get my 30 seconds of attention. Let me get those likes. Let me get those comments. And you're not realizing if you see yourself with a decent man in the future, I'm telling you, you got to almost act as if you're already with the man like that, because I'm telling you, those type of men, the first thing they're going to do when they get to know you, they're going to your social media. Yes. They're Googling you, period.
Yes. And they're going to look at all that. A lot of people don't realize what you do in your youth. It bites you in the ass later.
Facts.
It comes back later. And I just speak on Black people because I'm Black. A lot of us don't know how to properly transition from one stage of life to the next, right? When you're in college, you do the party girl thing, right? When you 38, why in the hell are you in the club every week? Why?
Period.
Why are you drunk on live and you're not being paid to do that?
Right.
Why? I mean, like I went to, do you know who Nene Leakes is?
Yes.
Okay, so I had a date in town. So we went to the Lenithia Lounge, right? Mm-hmm. And it was so sad. I saw so many women on the dance floor just dancing by themselves. And then at one point started like dancing with each other, but like in a sexual way. Well, okay, all right, cool. But it was just like they was trying to they like, somebody take me home, please. Like it was like one lady, she had to be maybe 53, 54, and she was just gyrating her like a city girl.
Oh.
Like mama had finger waves. She was old school, and was just pop. And it's just like, it didn't, not to say you can't have fun, but it just came off as desperate. And then she still walked out and left sweating and by herself. But I was just like, wow,
Yeah, that's
Even
where
the
we
old person in the club does not feel good.
yeah. And see, well, that's what happens when we're not married. We gotta go to the club. We're bored now. We've experienced everything we experienced, and we're still not with a partner. So let's go to the club and see if we can still be sexy. Here's another thing, Storm, too. I realize the need to be desired as a woman is very real.
Yes.
To feel like we still got it like that and we're still getting attention, I didn't even realize it was so real. I don't know what made me Google Tracy Bingham today. She used to be on Baywatch. She was like the only black lady on Baywatch. You can Google her
Yeah.
right now.
All that name sound familiar.
I remember she was like the hottest thing on the block. And I'm like, what is she doing these days? Because she's like 56, 57. I'm like, she has to be married. She has to be doing something with her life. Sir, she is still taking pictures on the gram as if she's still in her 20s. She has so much work done to her face. I'm like, come on, Tracy. And I thought to myself, okay, if this was one of the hottest women pretty much all her life,
Wow. I remember her. Here she is.
and she I mean, gorgeous. You know what I mean?
He stayed in the whole game too long. She didn't cash out early enough. That's
Oh,
all.
okay. I think that's what ended up happening because I'm like, a woman like her easily married to a high value man and with kids and stuff like that.
First off, all this plastic surgery did not do her justice.
So it just goes
She
to
looks
show
almost transgender, to be honest.
it low key looks like, yeah, but that's what happens when you've only spent most of your life putting your skills into your appearance and you didn't learn to take on another skill set.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
She stayed in the game too long, and somebody also didn't tell her, especially when you have white, you're gonna age like a white person. So
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't tell her that either. So yeah, but wow,
Right.
she was beautiful. I remember her now, looking at her face.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking to myself, oh God, I hope I don't ever feel like, I hope that when I get married, that the only attention and desire I want is from my husband. I don't want to feel like, and there's no shade to Aisha Curry. I actually like Aisha Curry and I think she's great. I know people gave her hell when she made that comment that, sometimes she wants to know if she still got it like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think just as human beings, it's just the idea of it. You know what I'm saying? And then there's this topic of conversation going on YouTube about how women, they complain about not getting attention. Some of them complain about getting too much attention now at a young age. But as you get older, that attention will start to disappear and you're going to wish you wanted that attention. So well, I'm not going to, let me not say that. But anyway, I think we should just embrace what we are able to, I guess, attract and able to still do at our age, because it's not going to be forever. And I think that's why it's important for young women to learn how to be feminine, learn how to, intermingle your world with another man.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And it's hard to think like that because on social media, we're constantly seeing these Fashion Nova models and they're so beautiful and they got the bodies, they got the house, they got all of this. And it's like, okay, when they wake up one day and they're almost 30 and they're about to be replaced with what are you going to do? After a while, those modeling jobs are going to run out and that investment on your body is not going to mean anything. Oh, well, I'll just get married to, okay. But when he goes back and he's looking at your social media, he's going to think twice about marrying you, sis.
He is. And I think, and I'm going to say this before I ask you one more thing and we close out. I'm going to say this, ladies, the art of, I don't want to say lying. I'm going to say some things just tell your therapist and tell Jesus. You understand? You're going to be a hoe, do it in private. Nobody should know. Like nobody should know who you slept with. They can assume, but they should know, right? If you want to say, let's say you just really want to be out there, use protection. You want Thug D, use protection. Just saying. Don't have his baby. I don't know. I just feel like certain things just don't do because everybody
Yeah.
can't have the story that Sierra had.
That part that would see. Okay, that would
And
be a whole
but
nother
the difference
conversation
with
another day.
Sierra, and I
Right.
have to tell people the difference with her is not just the industry that she's in. She's also absolutely gorgeous, got her body back together right away. Like, and she was so easy for him to mold, essentially. He didn't mind.
Right.
And she carried herself a certain way. So
Right. And he was getting something out of it. You understand what I'm saying? Like you have on one side of the spectrum women who are like, well, I'm just pretty, I'm pretty, and I'm entitled to this. And it's just like your looks get you in, but it's not gonna keep you there. And then you have other women on the other side of the spectrum where they don't even, not even by like 2% in the looks category and still making these demands with men. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, okay, even though Sierra came with the child, one, it was just one child, let's just be clear. And two, again, she has the looks, she, you know what I mean, the way she carries herself, she was able to still bring something else to the table.
she was, and she wanted to be with him, and she at least comes off as pleasant. I don't know what she like at home,
Right.
but even like her tone of speech, how she speaks, it's pleasant. Like I've never heard her
Okay.
speak, and I'm like, oh, like I've heard Tiffany Haddish speak, and I'm like, oh my god. But like or certain women, I ain't gonna say their name, but certain women that just the way they speak is like you're gonna always need a dude that has less than you. I think
I,
people.
I want to speak on that real quick. There's a girl, I'm not gonna say her name. She's pretty popular. She did date a very famous boxer, black boxer.
Oh,
Uh, and she also dated a rapper recently. I guess they broke up. She never made an announcement, and he, first of all, he never claimed her publicly. But she had him all over her page and everything like that. And she is beautiful. She's very beautiful. But when she opens her mouth and the way, I'm like, oh, this is why you can't keep these men. You don't do nothing but bring looks to the table. And she recently hit 30. She does have a child.
okay.
And it's just like, she's always bragging about, how good she looks and she got the bag and, oh, no man has ever bought me something that I never been able to buy myself and all this stuff. And it's just like, girl,
But why even say that? Even if it's true, just keep it to yourself.
just keep it
Just keep it to
right.
yourself. You go on a date with a man. How did you and your ex end? It just didn't work out. We grew apart. You ain't gotta go.
Right.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Tell your therapist.
Tell
But
your therapist something. Yeah.
keep it
Like
to-
it's I like when me and my ex broke up last year, no one knew, Storm.
I know.
We never made no announcements. People thought we were still together 6 months later. That's how quiet we were.
That's how it should be because
And
if you
that's how it should be. It's
if you
like,
want
okay, well,
love,
it's
then
over with. Why do we got to make an announcement? Let's just move on with our lives, live our lives. It's nobody's business. It was a peaceful breakup. I think that's what was very shocking. It was very peaceful. We were still kind of emotionally supporting each other through the process, but it was just like, we don't need to make announcements. And no one knew nothing.
that's how it should be. Because guess what? If I ever said I love you, I'm not gonna trash you in public for what?
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know. That's how I feel, but everybody different. So I think this has been a good conversation, Nicole. I feel real adult like having this conversation. I'm like
Good. And there should be a part two because I don't think we touched on, every aspect of the whole femininity thing, different things of that nature. To really like give especially the women something because some people are like, well, okay, if we need to be more feminine, how do we do that?
Let's talk about that real quick. What
Okay.
if you had to give them some action steps? What would you say they should do to be more feminine?
To be more feminine, well, looks does play a part. I'm sorry, ladies, I have to tell you, it does. Looks plays a part. If you are overweight, lose the weight.
Okay.
Dress. I know this sounds bad, but dress in a way that complements your body and complements your figure. Take care of yourself. Eat healthy. It first starts there. Next thing is your attitude. You have to be pleasant to be around. There's just really no other way of saying it. People have to, when your name comes up, it should be positive. It shouldn't be like, ooh, I don't want to be around her. She has bad energy, or she talks too loud, or she talks too much. So You're being peaceful and having a calm and peaceful demeanor is definitely an aspect. Have a level of mystery to you. You don't have to announce everything on social media. You don't have to announce every deal that you're about to get. Get the deal, let it happen, and then it speaks for itself. If you are dating somebody, no one's saying you got to be like super uber quiet about it. But if I were you, I would like reel it back, like until, like Storm, like you said, until you get a ring. Honestly, if that's your goal, because to be honest with you, you don't want to be a woman being seen with a bunch of different men, because that'll make you look questionable as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then I'll say the last aspect of it, and I'd say this is more on the spiritual level, like just have a lot of self-awareness. Be in tune with your creator, whoever you believe in, just because you'll always get discernment and wisdom with that.
You will. And I like how you
stop leading with your accomplishments, because the type of men that Black women claim that they want, these men, I promise you, do not give a damn about your accomplishments. It's just a bonus. It's like icing on the cake.
The majority of rich men actually marry women that don't have a lot of money. Like,
that's a fact.
That's, it.
I know a girl, this was years ago. She was a manager at Starbucks, and she ended up marrying like the VP of a bank or something like that. And people were like, oh my God, would he marry her? She was just a manager at Starbucks. That's not why. I got my degree in this and this and that. Man, she was probably feminine and cooperative and wanted to be a wife and a mom.
And wanted to be a wife and a mom. And I think that we got to start living our lives intentionally. If you say you want something, move, carry yourself a certain way. If I say I want to be a husband, then I know it's a lot of unhealthy, dysfunctional behaviors I have to unlearn. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's true, but Nicole is true. I'm a hot bitch in real life. So,
you're not that bad. Stop it, y'all. Storm, you are a real gentleman. We've been to lunch before. Like you, like y'all, he's completely different off camera.
Be trying to tell, but even that, and I have to admit, on one hand, that has made me a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. Put me in a certain position. IRS, I ain't doing that good. Anyway, but still, I now like going out dating. I don't give my first name. I'm gonna give you my middle name, because if you look up my first name,
right,
and my first name is so unique, it's gonna pop. So I'm gonna give you my middle name, which is regular, so you ain't even gonna think twice.
Smart.
Because it's like I want you to get to know me, and then I can say, okay, that's a character, because people don't get it. Because I'm not an actor. I'm not like a singer. Wait, that's you, but that's not you. Yes, it's entertaining. You just made me. You ain't got time for that. You done seen me call somebody a hoe 52 times in the video. Like, you like, what? When is this belt? Why are you dancing? Are you a doctor? Like, you're just like, what is this? So
wait, Storm, one last thing. I apologize, because I know this is either somebody's gonna hit you up in the DM or whatever, because I've heard this before, and the person that I'm talking to had asked this, and they were like, okay, well, if you're giving out this advice on how to be feminine and how to attract and get these like so-called high value men, how come you're not married to one? And that's a valid question. No. This is what they asked me. And I know either someone's going to ask it, like, who is she to tell people, but yet she's still single, doesn't have kids. Well, not single, but she's still not married and doesn't have kids. And it is two things. First of all, before anyone, you have to be qualified to ask me that question, specifically women. Unless you have walked in a room and got invited in a room where there's high value men, unless you actually have access and dated these types of men, you are not qualified to ask me that question. Yeah, let's pause on that. You're not qualified.
They're going to send you some hate mail on that one. Ooh.
That's fine. You're not qualified to ask me that question. However, if you're a woman who's been in my position, who has dated these types of men, different things like that, here's the thing, and it's called accountability. The reason why I have not married yet is because, one, I realized I wasn't ready for marriage, at least back then, as much as I thought I was, because I had to undo the conditioning, right? And another thing is, no man is going to marry a selfish woman, and that's what a lot of modern women are. Is they're selfish. Once you get out of that, because everything else, most the men that I've dated are like, look, you have what a man would want in terms of like wife material.
I can agree with that.
You see what I'm saying?
You're
And then
definitely somebody's wife, yeah.
Right. I heard someone tell me like being a girlfriend is demeaning, is beneath me. But that's what a guy has told me that. But I want to go back real briefly what you said in the beginning. You know how when we hung out and we went out to, we had lunch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you got out the car and you opened the door and you said there was something about my energy that does that. And the man that I'm being courted by now, he said something very similar, because I'm like, what do I bring to the table for you? What do I bring to your table? And he was like, well, first and foremost, you inspire my masculinity. You make me want to show up and do these things for you. You make me want to provide for you and do different things like that.
Hell yeah.
So unless a woman has a man saying that, and also you bring peace and all this stuff like that, then
and you're pleasant to talk to, and you're not a dummy. And like, I know, like, we're not dating, of course, but I know if I took you somewhere, you're not gonna say conversate, you're gonna say converse. Like, I'm just like, oh.
And I'm gonna show appreciation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to genuinely say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of modern men are saying, dang, these women out here, they just don't appreciate nothing. We're so entitled. So, yeah. So, no, I back then I didn't marry because I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. It wasn't because I didn't have everything else together that would make a man not want to marry me. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense.
I hear you, because I'm definitely not prepared to be a husband. Not now. Monetarily, I could do it, but I ain't prepared for it. No.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's just true. I'm gonna need like another 5 years of like reconditioning.
Dang, 5 years, Storm. Well, you know what? You're a man. You can do that. As women, we got to get our stuff together ASAP. So I'm proud to say I am wife ready. I'm a quote unquote pick me. I'm
ain't no wrong with that.
Here, okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't even like that term pick me. I don't like when they say good dudes are lames or good dudes are corny. I think we got to stop saying that, because dudes are not gonna want to be good if you keep calling them corny.
Right.
Just saying. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Nicole. Yes. I enjoyed this.
Thank you for having me.
I gotta have you back because I know people are gonna be like, she wrong. So I gotta have you back. But
right.
I think I'm gonna bring different women on from different walks of life and get their perspective.
Yes, and then kind of combine it all together and see what the people are saying. But I know there's gonna be some things that they want us to address up here. So if you have a part 2, I will be there.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys follow Nicole. You can shout out your IG and your skincare brand.
Yes, so you guys follow me on my personal page at The Real Nicole, and that's Nicole with a Y. Also follow me on my skincare line, Skin Essentials, SKEN Essentials. So yeah, y'all check that out.
I'm just saying, Nicole, I'm manifesting this for you. These celebrities gonna be flying you out, gonna be paying, dropping the dollars, because literally, the lady, her job is just to massage Rick Ross.
Oh wow,
that's her job. She really, because he gets like 2 or 3 massages a day.
Oh, okay, yes. Well, I don't want to be that available to just one person, because
I know you want to live.
I'll probably more than likely be a family woman, so I want to be able to maintain that balance between my family and career.
You're gonna be that one. I mean, you definitely can do it. So keep in touch, Nicole, and the video should go up probably like tomorrow. So
okay, cool. Are you doing on your app or on YouTube?
It's gonna be on YouTube, so I'll shoot you a link.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks for having me, y'all.
It's a storm show. Ay, it's a storm show.